A lot of you guys have requested some more team-orientated content, so that's exactly what this is going to be. Obviously, team setups on the CT side of a train. There are some individual elements you can take away from this as well if you are a solo queuer, because obviously there's 5 individuals that make up a team, so they've all got to do their own roles. So we'll cover that a little bit as well, but it's going to be mainly focused on how they set up to deal with different scenarios. So let's start off with a pistol round, how every CS game starts off. And we can see how Astralis have set themselves up to deal with wherever the push comes into it. So more of a reactive setup, but it's one that can definitely work out, and they actually use it a lot recently. Most of the demos I watched, they use this particular pistol on the CT side. And we can see straight away with that kill from Magisk that obviously the USPs have an advantage over the Glocks at the long range. And this is how they're going to deal with anyone coming down pop or anyone coming out T-con. And that's basically they're just going to back themselves to outshoot them with their gun advantage at these ranges, because obviously the Ts have to try and push up down these alleyways, at which point they're going to be exposed most likely to the USPs. So that's very simple, right? Just taking a gun advantage, long range engagements, train A site is known for that. Now the second thing you'll notice is they have one piece of utility, which is the smoke grenade. And this can be used in 2 ways. It's going to be used in the 2 positions where the Glocks can potentially get up close and personal. The first one, obviously, as we're going to see, and this is why I picked this round, is the Ts can rush the Ivy position, in which case the Glocks can get up nice and close and personal, and they have maybe an advantage over the USP. So that's why the smoke is in this position at the Ivy area, is to use it as we're about to see device use. So this is all for the A takes coming in. We'll cover B in a second with a separate round. But you can see device smokes off this choke point. An important thing to note is that he doesn't get stuck in his ways. I've seen players, they seem to always want to throw smokes in the exact same position. They might think, I always throw the smoke at this skinny choke point, so I must always throw it there. And they end up throwing their smoke behind the players. You see if Device had done this, the T's already passed, so it becomes useless. So even though this choke point here is a little bit wider and the smoke might not cover it perfectly, it's still a lot more useful, and you can see he gets nice kills. Obviously, again, you're going to have to back yourself to hit the shots. That's just CS in general. You can't just say, I'm never going to hit shots, because you have to hit shots, right? That's part of the game. And you can see, again, Magisk is going to be the long-range man. And this is very simple. I mean, there's nothing too elaborate about this, but I love it. I think it's very simple. Anyone can implement it into their CTs on pistol rounds. You deal with Ivy, with the smoke, and long range, you're going to trust yourself to hit the shots of anyone T-con and Pop Dog. So over on the B site is obviously the other spot the Glocks can get up close and personal. Astralis obviously have a little bit of a luxury. They have one of the best B players in the world in Zipex. Obviously a very smart player, very good at repositioning himself. But noticing that one straight away, he got a good spawn, which is always helpful when going for information, which is obviously what they're doing over the B side. You see another setup basically exactly the same here. And initially, Zipex, you see Jiggle peeks the corner in case anyone is rushing, because the Ts can get to around this area and they can be rushing. So he just makes sure he's playing this position before in case he needs to fall away straight away. And then when he sees no one, he comes out wider so he can see all the way up the hall there. The angle's not good for me, but you can see just above his crosshair. You can see all the way down, anyone maybe creeping along there. And he's just getting some information. And you can see again, it's the exact same setup. Device with his smoke grenade, and he's not going to see anything, so you see he's just going to hang on to it and try and get every information. Now, B side, obviously already covered the A side, is Zipex is going to get some information as the players all come in. And as soon as he spots one player, dupree's on his way over here. Already, he was, him and Magisk kind of swap positions from the previous round. You notice Magisk earlier in the round was the one playing in the connector area. Dupree, after seeing nothing initially, starts to move his way back over here already. So he's already kind of in position. And as soon as Zipex gets even more information, you'll see the rest of Astralis start moving. If you look at your mini-map, everyone's starting to move. Device hangs around a little bit longer just to make sure it's not some kind of fake. This is just very thorough. Because they know they are going to retake this, and this is where the smoke grenade can again be very useful. So I'm actually using this one because Astralis clean up quite well. But obviously the smoke can be used to smoke the bomb, smoke off lower ramp, smoke up upper, when they're going for that defuse, if things do get tight. So that's how the smoke's going to be used if they don't end up using it over here on the A site. And that's pretty self-explanatory. We've all smoked off bombs or done after plant positioning or retakes like that. And notice the way Zipex moves, he wants to delay time for his teammates, and he also wants to fall back so they can get into some kind of retake scenario. And again, you've seen my other videos, deny the Ts the ability to push all the way up and get aggressive, because that's really the only way they can realistically hold on to this, is to get aggressive up to at least this train area, because otherwise the CTs will just collapse onto you. But I've covered that in the video, so I'm not going to talk about that now. So see Zipex, he's trying to get away, and he basically does successfully. You see he gets around here, Justillo chases him down, he knows he needs this kill. Dupree again, they're using their long-range engagements. This is the same as what I was saying before. Once you get past this area, as you're trying to be Justillo or trying to be a players down the ramp, USPs again have the advantage if you're trying to move between these bomb trains to get up into position. This is going to be quite difficult for me to catch all the frags, because there's not, I mean, that's not really what we're talking about. Is you see the way they move in here? Zipex has stayed alive, hanging off down there. Dupree has moved all the way across to cover these kind of alleyways here, because obviously the rest of the team is in position to rotate in the connector area. So this is just a small thing, but if you're the first one in like dupreeh is, it's often good to swing all the way across like he has in this one, because then you can start covering off this left-hand side, because the rest of your teammate's going to be close by to cover off the right-hand side. That's just a small thing, rotations, timing, but it could maybe make a difference in getting information. Xyp9x has obviously managed to stay alive, which is very useful, and you'll see the point of his position right now is that he can deny, well, try and deny anything like YuStila. Anyone crossing this bomb train, which again, as I said before, if they can't get aggressive positioning, they have to deal with Xyp9x. And with his position, it's going to be quite hard to deal with him, because if you want to swing out onto him, you can maybe do it from YuStila's position, but dupreeh's there, as I said, for obvious reasons. And if they try and swing close, you've got the rest of the Astralis team shooting at you. So you can see the positioning is very smart. I missed how Xyp9x got there, but you can kind of understand. And it also is personal movement. As I said, Xyp9x, how he moves back on their side, it can be a personal thing. You can maybe try and fight an upper. I agree with how Xyp9x plays it. He's one of the players I almost agree with. I don't tend to disagree with too much he does. He plays very similar to how I think is very fundamentally correct CS. But so he moves forward a little bit before his team maybe. Disagreed with him straight away, didn't I? But the rest of the team moves in. You can see they're all just swarming in, as I said. 4 players swarm in. It's an easy defuse. And that's obviously a very simple, as I said, effective, but very good pistol round you can use on your CT side. Deal with here, getting information nice and early towards B. Your player can fall off, just delay, don't let them past here. dupreeh crosses, the rest of the team rotates in relatively fast. Obviously, Device has his smoke if needed, and this one he hangs onto it because I don't need to. And I already explained the A site, so very simple CT pistol round, and one I'd definitely recommend to any teams, amateur, high level, whatever, chuck it into your game. Now, gun rounds function a little bit differently. Obviously, the T side has a whole lot of utility, smoke grenades or whatever. To smoke off choke points, you can't use your long-range engagements. And obviously, the AKs have the one-shot headshot potential, where the M4s don't. So it almost flips itself on its head. This round in particular, I'm going to talk about mostly Device's movement with the AWP, but obviously his team supports him a bit. And it's going to be concentrating around this A side and this 3-man setup. Obviously, teams like to cheat the 4th player over here. For obvious reasons, there's a lot more entrances to this site than the B site. Often teams might leave their Deddy B player here by himself, but in this particular round, Astralis have gone for a 2-man B setup, which is obviously what teams do most of the time. They switch between 1 and 2. So I'm going to concentrate on a 3-man setup, and one that I quite like how Device moves, along with Magisk, and then his adjustments to where the pressure is applied by FaZe. So straight away at the beginning there, we saw Magisk molly off the T-con area, and Device is going to use this to get into a position very aggressively looking into T-con itself. And it's as simple as that. He uses one nade, a follow-up nade by Magisk, as you can see mid-air there, and he's very aggressive angle here to take everyone out. Now, obviously, someone could have crossed in this scenario. The map doesn't really show it that well, but they could be out in a position like this here, which Device can't see. Obviously, it's a relatively easy flick if they do dry peek. If there's a flash that comes in, he could be in a bit in trouble just for the moment. However, Magisk is going to come in to join him to try and will eradicate these issues or help him out. So the smoke comes into Pop Dogs. That's most likely not going to have anyone come through. And he's also going to position himself up in here. And notice he knows he can't get swung onto from the right because Device has that angle covered. So he's going to be quite comfortably able to swing out here, look towards the left, and clear it out quite well for his team. So they know they most likely have T-con control unless someone's tucked away in a very weird angle. But the chances are definitely in their favor that they have control of this area. Now, as this happens, they start off, they get this control. Device, I just missed it, but he did, or he's about to just smoke off the T-con area. So he's going to flash himself back in and smoke it back off as he repositions. And I think in this particular scenario, it's a reaction to the fact that Glaives had a lot of pressure put on him over in this area. There's 2 players firing their rifles. Glaives has been forced to use his smoke. And Device is going to move again. So you see, initially they did very well. They used a Molotov, a smoke, couple of flashes, couple of nades. So it's a little bit of utility used. They've taken away this T-con area away from FaZe Clan. So that's some extra map control they have to be worried about if they want to hit the A site. So as this happens, Glaive says, there's a bit of pressure over here, Device. Your AWP is very effective at Ivy. Obviously, we see AWPers often hang around this area. And Device comes back to help him out. Notice as well as this is going on, so Device takes the angle. Glaive is now moving away. And Magisk is also repositioned. He doesn't want to be up tucked away here by himself when he could get swung on from both angles. He could get peeked around. It's not a very safe angle. So he repositions into a more aggressive angle again, which is up at the E-box area, one we've obviously seen a lot of pros spend their time at. If you watch any level of, or a lot of high-level plays, see players like play this E-box area, as there are a lot of different angles you can create. Obviously, this one here is more of an off angle. He's got an angle if anyone swings out wide this way, but he's also got an angle if anyone comes out this way. He doesn't have a direct line of sight to Pop Dog if anyone does peek there, and no one has a direct line of sight. So he's not going to be seen if anyone just tries to have a little dry peek out these 2 scenarios. And he's going to be the bait for Glaive later on. But let's go back to looking at Device. So he's going to position himself. Again, this is a little bit more an individual thing. He's very confident they've crossed. He also trusts himself to hit the flick. Good AWPers will do this. But he's also going to get in front of a smoke very aggressively, and when teams smoke it off, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit because this takes a while, a bit of a standoff, is he gets in front of the smoke. And one thing you can use is when teams smoke off choke points, is you can get in front of these choke points and then use the own team's smoke against them to just disappear straight away and make it hard for them to trade you. This is exactly what Device is going to do in this particular scenario. As the take comes in, gets the kill, and he straight away uses that own smoke to disappear again. Obviously, he's given up IV control, but he's gotten that pick, he's used that smoke to get away safely, and they now have a man advantage. So now he's going to reposition, but this is where Glaive and Magisk start to come to play. Now they've given up the blue train area if they want to, but again, they're banking on the fact that they just took T-Con controls. You can see how this all kind of plays into each other. They're very much set up for people coming out Pop Dog in this scenario. Magisk has an off angle of anyone coming out. Obviously, he's trained on the angle towards anyone potentially coming out T-Con, but Glaive is also here in a perfect position to, wherever someone peeks Magisk, you see he's going to have to trade onto it. He can swing out very easily, and you see that's exactly what's going to happen. Device, again, rotating, doesn't want to stick behind a smoke. But you can see they're very much set up for Pop Dog, as I already said. Glaive has nice angles down this way, and they can basically have a double peek, or Glaive can trade anyone coming at this angle. This area there's going to be a little bit less control of, but again, that's why they went for this early control, to try and deter FaZe from actually coming out this T-Con area and making it a lot more difficult for them. And Device is obviously rotating in. So you can see as Magisk starts to get pressured, he gets Molotov into, taken out straight away, but Glaive's straight away there for the train. As he said, Magisk is there in an off angle, he can potentially get one kill, but even if he doesn't, it's very likely that Glaive's going to get the trade, because he can see all the angles that they can see Magisk's from, because obviously they have to swing out very wide in this one before they can see him this way, and they have to swing out this way where they're crossing Glaive's line of sight. And he can see both these angles, as you can see on your screen right now. He's going to catch anyone crossing, so it's a great bait and switch scenario, even if Magisk doesn't get a kill. So they maintain their man advantage, and he repositions straight away. Glaive doesn't want to get caught out here. He gets caught off. At the same time, Device has repositioned straight away to look at anyone else coming out Pop. And this is where things become a bit more reactive. I'm not really so much breaking this down as a setup. The initial setup we saw straight away was this main control, which then turned into a very Pop Dog orientated setup with the bait and switch between Magisk and Glaive, with Device coming over here and locking down Ivy by himself. So that's the setup straight away. As you can see, after the first couple of kills come in, it becomes very reactive. It becomes what they think is a team they need to do. Some instinct comes into it, so I can't purely break it down as a strat. The more perceptive amongst you will notice they start to trade each other. Device going to get into position, and they do a very good job of trading each other. You see, as Device goes down, he misses a shot, but he gets taken out. Zipex is there, gets a nice little spray through the smoke, and then they're left versing Nico in a 2v1, which will Device when dupreeh ends up winning, and they get taken out like that. So you can see the rest of once they reach that 3v2 scenario, things get a little bit messy. I can't really tell you guys, you just set up like this if you're looking for a team setup, but I definitely love the T-Con, and then concentrating on these two entrances here and here afterwards. That's about it, guys. Only two actually setups in this one. This actually takes me quite a while to explain. I know I ramble a little bit, but I can turn this into a series if you guys like it. Make sure to let me know, and subscribe if you haven't already.